One thing that is really important for the bigger future is learning how to deal with failures in a healthy way. Most of us carry our failures quietly. So always use the energy from your failures to build your next breakthrough.
All right, good morning, everyone, and welcome back to our Life by Design series. Before we begin today's session, let's briefly reflect on last week's topic, the last unautomable advantage, relationships by design. Sunny reminded us that relationships are either growing or eroding based on what we invest in them. He challenged us to make intentional deposits by listening to understand, not just to reply, giving by investing in others without keeping score, showing up consistently to build trust through everyday actions. He also encouraged us to identify the five most important relationships in our lives and make one deliberate investment during the week. As technology continues to evolve, trust remains an advantage that cannot be automated. Today, we're exploring another powerful Life by Design topic. Failure is not final, turning setbacks into breakthroughs. We all face setbacks, disappointments, and unexpected challenges. The key is not avoiding failure, but learning how to respond to it and go through it. In today's session, Sunny will share insights on how to reframe failure as in learning opportunity, build resilience through adversity, overcome fear and uncertainty, turn setbacks into opportunities for growth. So, without further ado, over to you, Sunny.
Okay, thank you, Anamika. Guys, can you join me to give a lot of love to Anamika for doing this every single week with a lot of passion. This makes Friday, more amazing Friday. And I always look forward to Friday mornings. Okay, so the topic. In the world that we live in, there are a lot more pressure points. And I see that the struggle that my generation, like when I was growing up, like without technology, without a lot of pressure points that are new pressure points. Now I think this generation has a lot more pressure points with technology, with everything that's happening around them, the pace. And it's just that acceleration is 10x is happening right now as we speak with AI. We have been talking about the adaptability advantage. We have been talking about the bigger life futures, like the bigger future series. But one thing that is really important for the bigger future is learning how to deal with failures in a healthy way. Failures are part of life. And as the technology is accelerating the whole human experience, there will be more failures. There will be more frequent failures for us and the next generation that we will experience our life with. So I'm like, this will be a great topic. And I was at a strategic coach this week, and Dan, who is my coach, so he had us go through this exercise, failure to breakthrough exercise. And when I was going through this, and of course, there is no life without failures, and I have had a lot of failures. And the idea is that if you can learn how to turn a failure into a breakthrough, then you will be able to continuously create bigger life and have the right human experience. And if you don't learn that skill, then no matter what you have, what success you have, you're always at risk of losing everything because if you don't know how to deal with failures in a healthy way, then you can go south very quickly. Your mental health, your overall life, the four life plans, they go south, they go red very quickly. In one of my relative, uh, he moved here, very young man, moved here probably about 2, 3 years ago from India. And of course, whenever you move, there is more adversity, more failures, and he could not deal with failures, and he got into drinking habit, and just one or two failures made him drink almost every day, and he killed himself with drinking, over drinking every day. And I was at his funeral last month, and there was one failure that came to my mind. It's something that happened very recently. That someone who could not deal with failure in a healthy way. He has young kids in India, his wife, and it was so sad to go to his funeral and see him just kind of at under 26-year-old young man, very like physically he looked very healthy, very fit, very healthy, but mentally he could not deal with failures. So one of the insight from that is being physically fit does not mean you're mentally fit. And mental fitness requires your resilience muscle to be exercised every single day. The way for your physical health, you got to exercise every day. For the mental health, you got to exercise every single day. And the way you can exercise, I have a couple of slides. I will share the framework that I use to develop my resilience, my mental strength, and keeping that mental wellness momentum, because more you grow, more success you have, you got to be able to navigate more failures. So having said that, uh, let's take a couple of minutes to whatever you're using, your computer, your notepad, have two columns. So draw a line. On one side, put failures. On the other side, put breakthroughs. And just to give you a sample, a template, what you're looking. So this is what Dan filled. I just came back yesterday from this workshop. It's more of a leadership workshop. But one thing with the whole AI pace and everything, the velocity, there will be more failures. So my coach, Dan, he's coaching a lot of leaders out there. What he's focused on this year is developing that failure muscle to deal with failures, because the failures will accelerate as well as the world is accelerating. So this is his sheet. Okay, so you're going to have two columns, big failures and big breakthroughs. So consulting partnership. So his failure, so he had some kind of partnership, consulting partnership, which basically the failure happened, and then he started having a journal from that. Basically, what he wanted, he didn't get it in that partnership. So he started keeping a journal every day of what he wants, because he was not clear in terms of what he wants. And this is a common thing that human beings normally they know what they don't want, but they don't know what they want. We all normally focus on what we don't want happened in our life. But what do we want happened in our life? Our brain, because it is designed to protect us from danger, So our brain normally defaults to all the risks, everything that can happen, the fear, that uncertainty, that doubt, what we don't want, if, like a lot of dangers. But very rarely human beings take time to really be very clear in terms of what they want. So license coach failure, bad private investments, which kind of turn, I'm going to cover the both sides. So the failure was more of bad private investments or license coach failure, where he basically built a policy of no receivable policy. So they just charge every customer that they have, every partnership that they have in advance. He called his first marriage because he had divorce, and he called it like a practice marriage. That his so he practice marriage that was a failure. So he got divorced, I think, when he was around 50. Then he met Babs, his partner, Babs Smith, and that partnership basically that's where he got better, bigger future. And hiring family members in his business was a failure. Foolish volunteer work, bad pricing projects, two bankruptcies, foolish lending, renting, not owning, dramatic relationships. And every single failure, then he connected with how he used that failure to have a breakthrough, expand his life. So, what you're going to do is write down three big failures in your life. So, reflect back, reflect on your life. So far, what are the top three bigger failures from health, relationships, career, anything in your life? What are the three biggest failures so far, and how you used that failure to turn that into a breakthrough? 30 more seconds, Anamika.
Sure, Sunny.
Just to exercise this, to really develop your mindset and the muscle to do this on your own, at least do one. One big failure, one big breakthrough in your life. And don't overthink. You can always erase and or take a new page and write it down this weekend. So don't overthink. Don't get stuck in overthinking. Just write down something. The whole idea is for you to experience this, for your brain to experience this. Big failure that comes to your mind right away, which you turn that into it. It could have been like a big problem, but you turn that problem into something bigger, something where you failed. It could be you started a relationship where you failed and then you met someone else. It could be your job. You failed at a job where you felt like it was a failure. You felt you are a failure. And then you got up and you turned that into a breakthrough that you got a better opportunity. Or something happened to your health. It could, you know, it could really bring you down mentally, but you changed your nutrition or working out and it got better. You had a health breakthrough, means you are fitter today. You were not going to be as fit as you are today unless that failure. I mean, without that failure, you could not have been fitter. So you use the failure to change your way of life, your health way of life, and that got better. So everyone got one? Okay, Ankur, let's start with you, Ankur. Can you share your thinking? How are you
Trial,
thinking about this? That was not Ankur's voice.
Ankur, we can't hear you.
For sure.
Yeah, now we
trial,
can. Huh?
Is that Ankur?
No, Sunny, someone using trial version is saying trial.
Okay.
Yeah.
trial,
What is that?
It's a trial again and again, I think. No.
trial,
Uncle, are you using trial version?
Yeah, whoever is using trial version of Zoom, is that Zoom trial?
Yeah,
trial,
Zoom trial.
Okay. Yeah, if our Zoom admin can figure that piece out and work with the person. So you see, this
trial,
trial failure is going to help us have a breakthrough to get a paid version. Okay. Okay, Ankur. Are you there, Ankur?
trial,
Okay,
Yeah.
we'll come back to Ankur
I think
later.
it is here.
Okay. Anyone else where you feel
trial,
comfortable to? This is the first time I'm hearing this.
trial,
Is it?
Ankur, can you mute yourself maybe? Can we try if it's still persisting? Hi, Manu, can you say something?
Yeah, Ankur, are you on mute?
Yes,
I think
Ankur
you
is
are.
on mute now. So we're not getting trial.
Yeah, so
We good?
just keep yourself on mute, Ankur, until we get it fixed. And Sunny, I can go.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, Manu.
But when I'm reading this, Sunny, I can relate divorce and bankruptcy at the same time. And I had a practice marriage.
You had a
Um,
marriage too. Okay. No, we appreciate you sharing that, Manu. Yeah, that is courage. Please go
yeah,
ahead.
and then bad financial management, Sunny. I mean, I used to burn money like anything. If I'm earning $100, I'll spend 98. And I did that for years and years. So very bad financial management. That was one of the biggest failures. So, but then we all learn from our failures, and then I'm pretty sure these have been turnarounds for me, learnings for me. I'm sure in future I will, and I've already learned my lessons, so I'm more wise now.
Yeah. So you had a breakthrough from
Yes.
these failures.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So, Sunny, I would like to add a couple.
Yeah.
Uh, so back in 2021, I would not pay attention to the health. I used to think that I'm exercising, I'm going out for a jog, I'm lifting weights, and I'm good. And this is about, I think, 2020, just before the COVID. I randomly got my health checkup done, and the health report was right in front of Ankur. Me and Ankur were sitting and we were chatting. And he happened to see those reports and he was like, "How are you surviving?" I couldn't get the head and tail of it. Then he said that your vitamin D levels are at 5. So you start getting these suicidal tendencies. Uh, so a lot of health repercussions happen. And then that's when I realized that not necessarily if you're exercising, that means everything is right. The markers are right. You have to keep a check on things. Okay. And after that, I made sure that I'm in a habit of getting those markers checked every quarter. I keep a tab on it. So you, with exercise, you need nutrition as well, and with age, you need vitamins. You need the supplements as well. So that's what I understood. So this is
Yeah.
one, and then I've got heaps of them. Renting, not owning is one of those which I have. Until about 2021, I was financially immature. I did not have anything in my savings. Um, so post that, when I realized, so I've started following blogs, vlogs, reading a lot of articles, uh, and figured out how can I invest. I still don't own a house. now that's the next step for me.
Got it. So it's in that transition to breakthrough.
Yes,
Yeah. But everything to your point, but one thing that is really, really important to note down is every breakthrough will start with you being able to face the reality of the situation. Because that's where the research will start. That's where you will start reading, articles, so that the way you did. So every progress starts with facing the truth.
exactly. Yes.
Otherwise, you are in delusion because you think you're doing well and the reality is different. And everything will start with really understanding the reality and being internally okay, having that internal clarity and confidence to face the reality, face the failure. We'll take one more and then we will get into a couple of slides. Anyone else?
I can go next, Sunny.
Yeah.
I think few things are like in this list are matching with me as well. So I've gone through the similar thing. Practice marriage.
Yeah, practice managed. Okay.
Yeah, but that made me, I think, made me courageous to let go things. So sometimes you stay too attached with things or relations, or right, and you start overthinking. But that made me courageous. When something is not going well, you can let it go. So that is my breakthrough. And in my life, I've gone through a big financial crunch as well. Uh, and that made me, I think, a better financial discipline. And
Yeah.
started my regular investing practice, started with my SIP practice to build that financial shield around me that, okay, I never come again with the same situation. So I think these are two big breakthroughs.
Yeah. I still remember, I think you joined IT by Design back then when you were ending your practice marriage.
Yes, sir.
And every day, because you had to have a drink almost every day back then. And in the morning, I had to remind you to fill out timesheets every morning.
Right. And we have
All,
pictures as well.
all the exchange issues that you used to fix. And then, but you will not enter time
Yeah.
against those tickets. Yeah. And then your health changed, Steve. I think that's where you face the reality head on with that mindset of breakthrough. And look, I think that transformation that happened from that point on. I
Yeah.
remember we were either in NetSmart's building or
And
Aaron
we were in
building.
that smart building when started. As like I think I've been in all the buildings.
Yeah. And that's when I had to take a selfie with you because your manager was like, Steve is such an amazing guy. But I don't know why the timesheet. I'm like, okay, Steve, here is our picture. You're gonna put it on your desk.
Yeah.
Every morning you see our picture, that's a reminder. It just says timesheet at the top. Okay, but you should be very, very proud of yourself, Steve, how far you have come from that practice marriage problems that you were sharing back then and where you were. Overall, your growth happened. Like it's like not even 10x, it's 100x. What happened after that. But that happened because you did not let that failure bring you down to a level where you never could get up. And a lot of people choose that path, and that is the sad part of things. That life will knock you down many, many times throughout your life. But the idea is to bounce back, come back, get up and go. And if you can learn that, then I think there is the way of life. If you can adopt that as a way of life, that struggles will be there. We will all go through a lot of suffering, but how to go from suffering to success, and also being okay with suffering, being okay with problems, being okay with looking at a problem as just an opportunity rather than problem being a problem and letting the problem define your identity. Okay, so we will have a little bit more time towards the end. Let me just go to the PPT. And this is what I think very powerful. Some of you have experienced this triple play that is from, I'm trying to share my screen, but it's not working.
Then you're sharing already. You just need to, I think, move the
Oh,
file. Yeah.
okay, good. So here, so the whole tool, the exercise, I think this will be a series, and part of this series will be going through this whole tool. So we will go, so have your failures list and breakthrough list, reflect on your life this weekend, and complete your big failures, big breakthroughs so far. And then the new breakthroughs list. So for example, what Dan did was now he's 82, and now he's kind of look. He created his this list, and your top three failures and breakthroughs and the insights. So we will just complete this in the next 2 to 3 sessions. But one very powerful thing. Let me see if I can find that. This one. So once we have our 3 big failures, just see where we are going. Have a vision for where we are going in the next 2 to 3 series. What he did was he put like biggest lifetime turnarounds at the center. These are his 3 big failures. If Ankur, you're back online with your audio without any technology issues, can you read this for me? Or Steve,
Let me try.
why don't you read? Okay, you will read this one, Ankur. Steve, can you read this one for me? The top arrow.
Sure, Sunny. Divorce and bankruptcy at the same time, lifetime, personal and coach partnership with Babe Smith.
Babs, yeah. So what he's saying is that because that divorce happened and the bankruptcy happened in the same year, he was able to basically really reflect and reframe and rebuild his life from that point on, because when that happened, then of course he had to find a new life partner, and he found Babs, and they are happily married for the rest of their life, and they built Strategic Coach together. And if this did not happen, he was not going to be able to have that growth, the transformation. Now, Manu, can you read this for me? The foolish investments.
Foolish investments, hiring partnerships, and projects. Strategy Circle, the first of 250 thinking tools, patents.
Yeah. So what he's saying with the second failure, so he's basically putting failure and breakthrough in the same arrow. So he's saying the foolish investments and hiring and all those issues gave him a lot of learning and growth, where he took that and he started thinking with Babs, and he and Babs sat down and they came up with this tool called Strategy Circle. And Strategy Circle tool was a big growth vehicle for them to grow their company. And now, because of that happening, now the way they were thinking about stuff, the way they were investing, now they learned from that with this tool that came out of as a result of that, like a lot of bad investments and bad hirings. When they got better hiring done, they got better team members. Now they are able to have 250 thinking tools like strategy circle. They have experience transformer, they have impact filter. Those are the tools that he's talking about. And he has a lot of patents, means the not only he's creating tools, he's creating patents, and that means he's a better investor. Okay, now Suhrit, can you read Actually, this is something that Ankur, if you can read this for me.
Sure, Sunny. I hope this time it is okay.
Yep.
Thank you. So from bad financial management and renting, not owning, moving to company and program based on unique ability, fit, teamwork.
Yeah. So that particular big failure turned into they developing more company programs, and now they have like they are probably the best institution here when it comes to leadership trainings, leadership coaching. And okay, here is the power. When you will write down your three bigger failures so far, like history of your life, and three breakthroughs out of that, then you're going to start connecting dots because brain is not linear. And what he does very beautifully is that he starts using that associative thinking by connecting the dots between the different learnings. So his learning from this divorce and bankruptcy, and then he's connecting here, if you see my screen, with the foolish investments and hiring partnership bad decisions. He met Babs, created the strategy circle at the same time, remarkable shift in both personal and business life. Because of these two different failures, what he sees as a connection is that these two failures had to happen for him to meet Babs and then with their teamwork have this remarkable shift. And the way he connected this one, these two failures right here, bad financial management, renting, not owning, and this one, what he sees is that start of 40 years of thinking about thinking, complete transformation of all areas of personal, business, and financial life. So this happened 40 years ago for him. And now at the age of 82, so that means this these failures that he's listing as a bad, like a big failure that happened around when he was 40-year old or 42. Look at this. A lot of people when they're 40, 42, they're thinking, oh man, I cannot, like life is done, everything. He was the only coach and only doing one-on-one coaching at 40, 42. No marriage, bankruptcy, everything gone, personally and professionally. And now look at like he is the like John C. Maxwell, he's the top thought leader. He is respected by the entire business world. A lot of US White House leaders, a lot of senators are taking coaching from him. They come to his class from like all the other thought leaders, like big names, they go to Dan Sullivan, strategic coaching. So look what he has built. But he started his life at 42, actually, after having the practice marriage, after having all these bad decisions that impacted him. And what basically the point I'm making is it's never too late. And what he's connecting here from this arrow, this arrow, and this arrow right here is 25 years of daily what I want journaling. So because when you are not clear in terms of what you want, if someone will ask you, hey, what do you want? You will have a hard time answering that. Even ask yourself right now, do you know what you want from your day today? Do you know what you want from this weekend today? Do you know what you want from this week or next week, next month, next year, next decade, your life? Do you know what you want from your life? So he started journaling because when you take this and exercise this muscle every day, ask this question, what I want, you start developing that mental model where your mind is so strong because you are exercising that muscle every day of what I want. So what he did from that breakthrough is he's always clear what he wants from his life, from his week, from his day, from his month. So created partnership with Babs and the entire strategy circle approach to business. So this is how triple play, he calls it, the 3x3 triple play, where one thing you can associate, have your brain associated with another thing, and it's a multiplier. It is a multiplier. Make sense? Give me a head nod or something if it makes sense, or you are bored, or you're thinking too much right now in this moment. Okay. If it's making you think, we're winning so far. Okay. If you see my screen,
Yes, Sunny.
so the number one thing, guys, is failure is fuel. Embrace failure. Everything that we talked about so far, it will start with one mindset shift. When you start looking at problems as opportunities, when you start looking at failure as a fuel, as energy. Every failure have energy built into the failure. The idea is how you going to channelize that energy. You can channelize that energy that comes from failure in bad direction just because the way you are telling that yourself that story. The story that you tell during failure will determine how you're going to use the failure energy. You can turn that into a breakthrough, or it can really take your life away from you. So how to turn your hardest setbacks into the energy for your next breakthrough. So the framework that we're going to use to live this, put this into practice, is reflect, reframe, and rebuild. Personal, professional, permanent. So we all carry failures ourselves and we don't even share. We all carry it very quietly. If any of this sounds familiar, you are not alone. Most of us carry our failures quietly in private. We smile in the meetings and question ourselves in the car or in the cab or in our room or in our shower. The fear is rarely the failure itself. It's being judged, losing credibility, letting people down. Reflect on these three questions for a quick second. Do you feel it? Have you felt this during your fair share of failures so far? Everyone will fail in their lifetime. Did you feel lonely during failures? Yes? Did you did you have that fear of judgment from others, that what people are going to think? Your friends are going to think? Your family going to think? Did you feel the fear of you letting people down with that failure? That feeling is normal. That's human experience. You're not alone. So always use the energy from your failures to build your next breakthrough. That's the bottom line. That's the line that you can leave with. What you will walk away today from this session is being able to see failure as a fuel, and then knowing that that failure is full of energy. All you have to do is change your story, the story that your second brain, that unconscious brain is telling your brain, change that story that you're telling yourself with more clarity, more courage, and then make these three moves that I will talk about. You will be able to take that failure as an opportunity, that energy, and channelize in the right direction to build a bigger future. What happens if we do nothing? Energy you refuse to use does not disappear. It stays there. It bothers you. It's not going to leave you. It's going to make you drink. It's going to make you do bad stuff. It's going to make you feel depressed. It's going to make you feel that you are not worth it. You are not required. You may not be required by this world, or you may not be liked by this world. There are a lot of bad emotions that can come out of that energy, which is contained in that failure. It's not disappearing, and you are not doing anything to clear that energy. So it will make you that it will amplify the shame, the fear, the hesitation, and smaller dreams. And the failure you hide is the one you live again. This what this means is when we talk about learn from the failure, that's learning is what really will take that energy, clear that energy, and turn that energy into a breakthrough. And if you don't do that, that's when you will make the same mistake. The failure you hide is the one you will live again. And that's where when we talk about that three strikes rule, that make mistakes, but don't make the same mistake more than 3 times. And people that don't have this skill, people don't learn that skill, those are the people where they will make the same mistake again. All failures are simply raw material for creating breakthroughs. Let this absorb. Let this sink. What this means, guys, is that when failure happens, the energy that we're talking about, that energy is raw material. It's raw material. Now, it's just what are you going to do with that raw material? You can build bad stuff or you can build good stuff from that raw material because you are the cook. Now you have the raw material. You are the architect. You are the manufacturer. What the product that you're going to build with that raw material, it depends on the story that you're telling yourself. It's about the creativity that you're using. It's the clarity. It's the confidence. It's the courage. How are you going to use that raw material? Same failure, same raw material happening to two different individuals, and the way what they're gonna do with that raw material is totally different. One person may go into depression, to a lot of other bad things, and another person can take that raw material and build a better life. So raw material is fuel. The only question is how you use it. And this is Dan Sullivan. So the framework that we will use is reflect, reframe, rebuild. Look honestly at what happened and who you are becoming when that failure is there. Reframe, this is the story that you tell yourself. See the failure as raw material, not the end. It's not the final decision. And then you reframe that story by looking at failure, that energy as raw material to build something bigger. Learn from that, rewire your neurons, your brain, and use that new neurons that are built in your brain from the failure because you're looking at it with positive focus. You are looking at that from silver lining perspective, and you are now rebuilding bigger, better, experience in the future. Experience transformer. Another tool that you can use to reframe is there any tool that comes to your mind, Steve, Ankur, Suhrid, Manu, tool that we have been using to transform our experience?
Experience transformer.
Yes, sir. So experience transformer, guys, is what worked in this during this failure, what didn't work, because in every failure there are few things that didn't work, few things that worked, but end result is we did not get what we wanted as a end result. So you asked 4 questions: what worked, what didn't work, what I have learned from the situation, what are the insights that I have gained. When you reflect on that, that's when your rewiring of your brain happens. That's when reframing happens. That's when the new story is born out of that failure. The story that you were telling yourself, the new story will appear from those 4 questions. And now you take that learning, that insight from the question, what have you learned from the failure, to take action to do things differently in the future when the same situation comes up. That is the bottom line in terms of the framework. So reflect with those 4 questions, reframe from the insights that you have gained from the failure, turn that into actionable steps. What action you're going to take in the future differently, what are you going to do differently, and then act on it, implement. That's how you rebuild. So this is more of what we just talked about in terms of detail of how we can practice this. Name the failure in one honest sentence. Separate what happened from the story you told about it. Ask what it shows about who you are becoming. Write it down so it stops running in the background. So very important, the last step. Normally your unconscious mind is always working, even when you're sleeping. That is the background. So when you had we all face failure, then no matter how hard you try, there is always something running in the background. And that noise, sometimes we have to numb it by taking substance or something. That's the bad way of doing it. A healthy way of doing it is write it down, reflect on it. All your brain is looking for is learning and clearance of that energy. When you write it down or reflect, it clears that energy, you gain your insights, you learn the lesson from the fee that you paid with that failure, and that becomes the fuel. Reframing, how we can practice reframing. Ask these questions. Ask, what is this for, instead of why me? So what is this for instead of why me? Why it happened to me? Don't do that. Do what this means. What I'm learning from this. Everything happens for a reason. Everything that happens has a purpose. The question is just thinking, what is this for? What is it teaching me? What is the lesson? So keep the one lesson worth carrying forward. What are you going to do differently by learning that lesson? Name the capability this could build. So every failure and the lesson that you learn from the failure will develop a new capability if you just take that raw material, that energy, to build something new. Say it out loud as fuel, not as shame. Reframing turns the setback into energy you can use. Rebuild. How we can practice rebuilding? Choose one next move you can make this week. So from the failure, like let's say the failure happened next week. First of all, starting with positive focus that, okay, even though I don't like it, it's bother for me, But if I'm going to take that bother and turn that into breakthrough, I need to learn and make a move. So choose one action that's going to be different if a similar situation comes up or to deal with that situation. Put the lesson to work in real work. Tell someone so it becomes a commitment. So we honor commitment more. We are more committed when we share that with someone. Run the loop again on the next setback. So why this matters in the AI era? Because AI can optimize what already works. AI cannot convert. It cannot live through a setback and turn it into a new capability. The life experience that you are having, emotions that you're having during the failure, AI cannot, you cannot basically uh, use AI to feel a different emotion. Or in other words, AI cannot live through a setback the way you're going to live. It cannot turn that into a new capability. It cannot develop your brain neurons that will be developed if you reflect and you reframe that story yourself. You are irreplaceable, means that conversion is human and it is what keeps you irreplaceable. You cannot automate that. The life on the other side, stronger, more intentional, more available. So if you adopt this framework, taking failures as an opportunity and use the reflect, reframe, and rebuild framework with every single failure that's going to happen in the future, because failures will happen. There is no life without failures. Everyone have failures. Everyone have their fair share of failures. The only thing is you're not alone. We all are experiencing these things, negative experiences that we have. The idea is to look at that as an opportunity and turn that into something big, a breakthrough. So with that, it's 9 o'clock. One question, and then we will end. Or one insight, one takeaway. Anyone? What's your biggest takeaway?
I
It's,
can go
it's,
talk. Please go.
I'm going to connect it with something, a framework which I learned as the failure going to happen in life. Things going to change. It's not always stays same in life. Is that the framework I learned from a book, The Success Principles, is that event plus R equal to O, which is events going to happen. How you respond to that events become your outcome. So in terms of failure, you decide to stay where you are when there's a situation, or you push yourself to get out of that situation. And that's
Awesome. Thank
something
you.
which I learned.
Yeah, Ankur.
Yeah, one specific line that sticks is the failure you hide is the one you live again. I mean, this is so beautiful. At times we overlook this, but you just need to spit it out, just need to acknowledge it. So the failure you hide is the one you live again.
Yeah,
That's
that's awesome.
that's my take.
I think it's really, really important for us to at least take one thing from the thinking that I shared today. So in order for that to really stay, can everyone share? I'm sure there are a lot of other things that you're thinking through or you have read in the past, but from the session today, what is that one thing? Can you put it in the chat, please? The way Ankur shared his one line, can you please put it in the chat, your line? Sharing will help with the retention of knowledge. Mohit is what I want. I love that. Yeah, really important. Wanting what you want. Okay, that's the next session. Wanting what you want. Failure is fuel. Use failures as reflect, reframe, and rebuild. Nobody's alone. Akasa, we are all dealing with failures. Yeah. Surid, keep moving forward, one step, one day, one round at a time. Shifali, progress starts the moment you face your truth. Love that. Failure will be your fuel to start again. Love that, Abby. You are the capital of your own captain of your own ship. Yes, you are. Ownership. Preeti, focus on breakthrough always. Yes. So thank you, team, for sharing. Appreciate you. And next week will be one thing that we will discuss next week, Namika, is going to be conflict. The biggest conflict that we have, where everything starts in terms of failure, is more of an internal conflict. So what we will talk about is how to deal with internal conflicts. If you learn that, you can apply the same method to deal with difficult people around you, because the most difficult person to deal with is you, being internal. Once you learn that, then you can deal with anyone. So we're gonna focus on conflict, how to deal with internal conflict, and have a great weekend, team.